Rise and shine to the like 3 or 4 ladies and gentlemen who watch this channel. It is like 8 AM as I record this video, but that shall not hold us back today. So, yesterday at gamescon, Bethesda's Pete Hines gave us what was essentially a release announcement window for the Elder Scrolls 6 that, for better or for worse, indicates that we can expect an Elder Scrolls 6 release sometime in late 2019, early 2020, around there. Here's what Pete Hines had to say.
Elder Scrolls 6, das ist das Problem. Genau. You're probably not gonna reveal Elder Scrolls 6 right now. Okay, so sorry folks.
And just so you know, not at the next Gamescom, and not at the one after that, and there are at least 2 big games from Bethesda Game Studios before we get around to Elder Scrolls 6.
Oh, okay.
So that's not info, just come out, he's got another one.
Now, it's important to note that gamescon is an annual convention that takes place around the same time every year. So obviously, when he says 2 gamescons with no TES 6 announcement, the earliest opportunity would be in 2019, and that still may be a little bit optimistic here. And Pete Hines' statement almost certainly reflects what Bethesda must be thinking at this point as well. Now, some might be saying that Hines himself didn't really give us an estimate on when the title would release. However, Bethesda has stated quite a few times that they will not be announcing the Elder Scrolls 6 until the game is done and ready to ship out. They did a very similar thing with Fallout 4. It announced in late June of 2015, and only a few months later, in November of the same year, boom, the game was here. So I think we expect the same thing out of Bethesda in this case. And I think that the strategy Bethesda has been using of having such a short gap between announcement and actual launch really gets to play to their benefit, because by the time the game finally does release, the hype train is still at its peak. People remain interested and haven't had much time for anything else to really catch their eye and get their attention devoted to it. And the Elder Scrolls, much like Fallout and Doom, all have such renowned reputations that any announcement regarding those titles at all is going to generate a huge amount of publicity and excitement immediately, unlike lesser-known titles, less popular franchises that don't really get away with such a luxury. They need time to build interest within the community, whereas a lot of Bethesda's games don't really need that. And just because Bethesda may be expecting to release the game in 2019-2020, still doesn't guarantee that those numbers will hold true. There's a significant number of variables that Bethesda could encounter to only push this release date back even further. They could run into a problem that they didn't expect, or think of something else that they want to add into the game that only goes to delay this process. And while I'm certainly sad that this game is so far away, I suppose it can also be a good thing. I mean, I'm a bit glad Bethesda's deciding to take their time with this, likely learning from the mistakes they made in Fallout 4 and doing their best to listen to the community's critiques and try and correct them, rather than just quickly slapping a label on the product before it's due. I mean, God, how upset do you think everybody would be if the Elder Scrolls 6 came out with something like Fallout 4's dialogue system, for instance? Not to say Fallout 4 was bad or anything like that, but like every product, it did make a lot of significant mistakes, and it's a good thing Bethesda's probably going to do their best to learn from them rather than repeat them. So whether a good or bad thing, Bethesda appears to be going that slow and steady route with the next installment of the Elder Scrolls. But in the meantime, Pete Hines did mention 2 other quote-unquote major Bethesda projects coming out before then to hold us over that I'll certainly do my best to get a video on within the near future. But anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed. Like if you liked, dislike if you didn't, and leave a comment down below whether you think this was/is a good move by Bethesda and what you think those other 2 projects may be, or just whatever number your comment was as usual. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope to see you all in my next video.